Yep.
All right, and here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fasa the Silver Chimera, and I'm joined with...
This is Aggro. No sub-moniker.
This is Wayward Coyote. Also no sub-moniker.
Terrific. so little energy compared by all of my enthusiasm.
I guess technically it's Aggro621, but that's just because I've been reset way too many times.
Right. So we just wanted to make a video, because I want to make videos again, and the Lightfall campaign dropped, or the expansion for Lightfall dropped, and I figured we could all just hop into a call, record, talk about thoughts, theories, stuff like that, and then while we work on bigger stuff later. So, yeah.
Sounds good.
I don't know. It's one of those weird things. It's like, do we just want to jump into it? Do we want to talk about what's the first thing we want to talk about? I guess.
So, do you want to do no spoilers first, or do you want to immediately just all off the wall, all spoilers? If you're if you're listening to this, we are assuming that you already have played this.
I'm gonna say let's avoid spoilers at the top. If we get into it, we'll get into it. How about that? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
All right.
Sounds bueno.
So then.
No, go ahead. You start us off. Whatever you want to talk about. Let's go.
Well, I was gonna say, especially if we're avoiding spoilers, just what's your general first impressions of the campaign? Like, as far as summed up as a whole, without going into detail, like, do you think it was worth it? Do you think that it was missteps? Just what are your general interpretations?
My initial feeling off the cuff is I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with the campaign. And I'm having a lot of fun with Lightfall so far. You know. Is it perfect? No. I'd have to really sit down and think about what I'm feeling in like a tier list sense of like where does it fall in all the expansions. But, you know, as far as right now being in the honeymoon phase, I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. And I think the campaign overall I thought was fun, although it was flawed.
Yeah, I definitely agree with some of that. Aggro, what did you want to add?
Sure. I mean, I enjoyed the campaign too. I think that my opinion on Destiny's story is always kind of like a little less like... my main interest with the game usually isn't in the campaign as much as like just kind of like how does it feel to play, like let me get some new weapons, let me try out some builds, like the in-game content. Like the story is fun and cool, and I like a lot more of the side story and the side lore of Destiny more than a lot of the main story a lot of the time, so I may be a little biased in that part. I felt like the campaign was mostly fun to play through, and I enjoyed that. I'm digging the new subclasses and things like that, and the additions to the existing elements. I think story-wise, we're going some interesting places, which is cool. I liked the kind of end boss fight for the end of this story mission.
Oh, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that for sure.
I'm excited to see where things are going. I think that the new location is cool. Some of the characters I don't care for too much. Some of the designs I don't care for too much. Destiny jumping is always its own kind of thing when you're a warlock. So some of those elements, even with the kind of grapple, were a little frustrating on my end. But that's nothing new, you know.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
so
warlocks, your jump just carries your current momentum. So
yeah,
if your grapple has you going off a ledge, there is nothing you can
do. Yeah, there was a lot of unintentional deaths on some of those sequences for me just for flying off the map, because there's like no correction if you're a warlock. You needed like, I'm going here, this is where I'm going, and if where I'm going isn't where I'm supposed to go, I'm just dead. There's nothing I can do about it, right? I'm committed to death. Like, you know?
The warlock identity focusing on the threadlings makes a lot more sense now, because yours is definitely not in movement.
I still think the movement's cool. I'm excited to play with the threadlings and get like a full kind of like shooting worms at things build going. That's very much a me play style, so I'm excited for that. And a lot of the exotics seem interesting and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say I have too many super strong opinions about the expansion so far. It's just more Destiny, it's more stuff to do. It's nice to have a break from doing the stuff we were doing from the previous seasons. So I'm looking forward to just kind of like riding the train and seeing where it goes.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail kind of like, for my feeling on it, really on the head of there is a lot of really cool stuff in Lightfall, but I do think there is some problems with it, honestly, especially like the immediate after first day playing it, just getting off, I'm like, man, so many cool things just happened. But really, the more I sat back and looked at it, the more I do think, like, story, there is some stuff where, without going fully into it, I do think there's a lot where it tied into the Destiny's weekly model of just, I think a lot of the story wasn't there because they want to hold it off to spread it out over a year. And the longer I sit with that, I don't know how I feel about that. But I do think that it is, like Foss said with the honeymoon phase, I do enjoy what I played.
And I think there's something good to be said personally about having stuff to look forward to, right? It's not like you just play it and then you're done and then you're just grinding the same shit all the time. There is going to be like an element of that, but at least we, at this point, have stuff to look forward to. So if there's stuff that's lacking, we can at least have like hope, like, oh, this will get addressed, or we'll get like new stuff here, or this will be expanded on. I know that there's some like characters and backstory stuff that I'm excited to look at, and I don't know when we'll get directly into that kind of stuff in this conversation, but there's definitely like one thing in particular that I'm excited for. So what are you thinking, Fasa, going off of that sort of tangent?
Yeah, well, I think overall, sitting down and like what I'm feeling about the campaign and the expansion so far, I'm usually a more positive-minded person anyway, right? So I'm always kind of looking forward to positives, and I think there was a lot to love here. I really enjoy Strand. I think Strand is super fun. I really enjoyed the mod, like the way the mods and stuff. I'm really excited to do loadouts and new mods and new builds, and like I was already messing around with that new stasis bow and making a bunch of stasis crystal builds, and like that was really neat. And Strand with all the threadlings and suspending, it really awakened my BDSM personality. Like I really enjoy stringing them up and then walking up and being like, suffer, and then kill them. That's really neat. And I love the just Strand as a whole. I think I like it more than Stasis when it first came out. But I think it's just because it's more movement, more bombastic, and you get to go. I'm a Titan, so you get to just go fucking Wolverine on stuff, which is just super neat. The weapons look really cool. Neo
I think
Luna
that
is
the
super
emphasis
cool.
on mobility was kind of like a smart change, right? Like it makes it feel more distinct from a lot of the other subclasses, I think.
Yeah, and
Well,
I agree with that. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just saying, I think also the way that they spread it out throughout the campaign, they did a better job of letting you play with it for longer. I feel like, especially when you compare it to Stasis specifically, Stasis was really, you enter a room, you get stasis for that room. And Strand operates very similarly, but it was much bigger rooms, at least.
It was bigger rooms and jumping sections, right? Where it was like, get over there with Strand, which was neat. Yeah.
It's interesting.
And especially, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's also interesting, seeing the kind of crazy stuff people are already figuring out how to do, and like some of the different old raid jumping puzzles and stuff like that, and the sort of exploits.
Oh yeah, I saw a whole team
movement.
just clear the jumping puzzle in King's Fall. They were just gone. I was like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah, I did the dungeon with a couple of our clanmates, and Moose took me and Heartless to the other end of the jumping puzzle in Spire with a sword skate. It was hilarious.
Oh, nice.
I was like, this is dangerous.
You were able to grapple onto the sword skate.
Yeah, and he took us all the way to the end of the jumping puzzle. I was like, this is dangerous. This is very dangerous.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the crazy hacks.
About it. Yeah, everything about that in theory made sense. I just, for some reason, wasn't sure if... Because that was the question where we're saying, like, how fast does something have to be going before Strand can't connect to it?
I mean, to me, as long as
I
it,
guess.
you know, makes that, you know, it looks, as long as it just makes contact with whatever you're looking at, you go to it, and if that starts moving, you just follow it. I did the seasonal activity. I forgot. I don't know what it's good. It's like Defiance playlist or whatever. And I was on the first part in the Sparrow, and a guy just rode me all the way. That came out wrong. A guy rode my Sparrow. No, fuck it. He rode me all the way to where it made me get off. And he was
Did
just
he suspend you before he rode you, or took you to dinner first, or did you just kind of?
It's all a blur. It's all a blur right now. I don't really know. I don't really remember.
Dominatrix strand outfit for.
Yeah. So I think it's really fun. I think Neo Muna looks cool.
So do we want to get into spoilers? We've had about 10 minutes of people not having spoilers. I feel like there is at this point. I feel like anyone who stayed around probably wants to know more so kind of our takes on some of the controversial stuff, or even just the story in general.
I think 10 minutes is good. This is your warning. From this point on, we're talking about spoilers, and we're talking about predictions, and we're talking about all kinds of stuff. So, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Spoiler territory.
All right, I guess I'll start.
All right, good talk. No,
a big thing for me that I'm excited about is just like learning more about Nezarec personally. I'm glad that he's like coming more into the front for this. I'm excited because, you know, as a warlock, we always got the cool Nezarec Sin helmet, and he's kind of been this like background character for a long time. And we got to hear his voice in one of the quests, and I'm interested to see where that's going. I'm wondering if he's going to be a part of the raid or part of another, you know, season or something like that. And we've got some more weapons from him in the previous season and stuff like that. So I'm just interested to see where that story with him is going personally. That's probably the biggest thing, spoiler-wise, that I'm excited for.
Yeah, Nezarec being a big character kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, it's really funny because a person we play with all the time, shout out to you, Evan, he called that shit. But I didn't see it coming. I was like, holy shit, Nezarec is here. Which was a really cool part of the campaign, doing the strike and then having that be the reveal. That was really neat. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have about a week before we'll know if he does turn out to be the raid boss.
I think so.
I do think things are leaning that way.
I think that's very likely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool where we had him built up kind of as this person who was there, and there was a lot of question of like, are they ever going to do anything with it, or is it just kind of this, he's the MacGuffin of a few of last year's seasons. So the fact that he is coming back, I'm like, okay, cool, you're actually using this thing you have. I like when they do that. There's a lot of things that they've not done that with.
Yeah.
I mean, even the helmet says, you know, he that which is an int, and he shall rise again. So he don't be
you
back.
say that so? You said that so Southern Baptist. That made me uncomfortable.
The Nezarec shall rise again.
Oh boy.
This is why we need to replace the statues of Nezarec. That's how he comes back.
Can we not?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I'm tired of all these insensitive warlock exotics.
Oh man. Well, I mean, you know, on my end, I think something I'm really looking forward to talking about now that we're in spoiler territory. Finally getting to put a bullet in Callus's head. That felt so good to finally kill Callus.
Yeah. There was, I think I asked you this actually like right immediately after we did it, but there was a moment where I half expected that to be another robot and just be like, haha, I'm still around somewher.
They're just gonna bring it
the
back
thought
as
didn't even
form.
cross my mind. I'm happy he's dead. I hated him ever since he showed up in Vanilla D2. You know, it feels so nice. So that was probably my highlight of the year. Is finally getting to kill Keidel's dad.
R.I.P. Callus.
No, he can suffer.
Well.
He's a dick.
How did you guys feel about fighting side by side with Keidel in that one part of the mission?
Oh, that was so
that was
fun.
Absolutely the highlight of
that
the
was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Keidel has become such a cool character. I really love Keidel. She's so awesome. So, seeing her down there actually just throwing hands was awesome.
And I mean, I've said it to y'all several times. It's something that they've slowly been building up, and it's the biggest thing that I feel Destiny's been missing ever since launch, is the fact that all these times we're in these areas of, like, massive war, and it's just us standing there. The fact that they're slowly introducing, like, even though I know they don't really make much of a difference, just AI on your side on the battlefield does so much.
It feels
to make
nice.
the fight feel bigger.
Yeah, it feels great.
It'd be interesting to have like more sort of activities or strikes where that was kind of a bigger component, right? Or where it was more impactful. I feel like they've tried doing some stuff like that with like the catch raids and stuff like that, where you can summon the allies from Spider and things like that. But it'd be interesting to see that be like a bigger part of different parts of the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's that lost sector on Europa where you get the robot allies, and that to me that's the most Destiny has ever felt like Halo, because that's the thing that Destiny just doesn't have, is that moment where it's like you get all the Marines, you're just loading them up with guns, and you're just going to walk in there and know you are going to destroy all these Covenant, and you just don't really get that in Destiny. So I'm glad to see they're kind of starting to bring that back.
Yeah, no,
I feel
agree
like
with
we had a few moments last season too where there's some stuff like that, like when you were going up to the Seraph station and it would upload the bots there and they would fight stuff, and that was cool.
Yeah, I think they've really improved on making it feel like you're not alone, and like they do a good job of making you feel like I'm the most powerful person in the room, but I'm not the only one here, which is good, you know. Good. So this is something fantasy.
This is something I'd like to kind of hear your guys' opinion on. I kind of hate the way that Nimbus looks in the Cloud Striders. Like, Rohan was kind of cool. It sucked that he got kind of like KO'd so early, and then now we're stuck with Nimbus. I don't like hate his character idea. I feel like he works well as like
they.
Yeah, they. I think correct. I think that it works well that they are a kind of young counterpart for Osiris to see some of his flaws and maybe try to be a mentor and work through some of his stuff. I like that element of their character. I just really don't like the way that they look, right? Like, I'm just not into the design of the Cloud Strider. I don't mind that they're big. I don't mind the Silver Surfer surfboards. I don't mind the kind of like techie look. It's just the individual design of that character that I'm just not a fan of.
I think personally Nimbus grew on me. I overall I like the character a lot. Like, I like how they're funny, and I like how they're pretty much Sonic the Hedgehog, which I think is fine. The design of Nimbus, it's like the crop top I'm not a huge fan of, and like I don't know, I think they're just trying to be a little too neo pop art wave or something. Like, I don't know, it's not really my thing, but overall I think, you know,
they've got like this belly they've got like this belly armor that almost gives them like a double bulge. Like, it's just interesting.
Yes, I saw that too.
I think some of that is they are trying to make them look a little, I don't want to say disgusting, but a little off-putting, just because
the augmentation,
the augments are. Yeah, I get the feeling they're trying to sell that the augmentation isn't like something everyone should strive for. It is like you're basically sacrificing your body for this, which I think is supposed to play into the fact that the Cloud Striders are also that side of quote-unquote sacrifice, which is necessary for being a Guardian, going through the whole speaker lore, except the Cloud Striders don't have to feel free to kill themselves.
I mean, I'm waiting for the inevitable OC that someone makes that, like, this is my Guardian, and they were a Cloud Strider and then died and then became a Guardian. I'm like, so they're just OP on top of OP? Got it.
Would a Guardian Cloud Strider, because they have a 10-year lifespan, would they just drop dead every 10 years and their ghost have to res them?
No.
And would their ghost reset them 10 years back? Or after 10 years, would they just always be dropping dead every few minutes?
I mean, I think they would just be a Cloud Strider that's
never
mortal.
know.
Because I mean, I guess that I don't know, because when people, it's like the Attack on Titan thing, where it's like they don't explain what that time limit means. Is it like you're going to die by 10 years because the job is so dangerous? You're going to die because your body just shuts down 10 years on the dot, or is it a combination of the two, or is it like, you know, is it 10 years and 11 months and 29 days? Like, you don't really ever know. So it's like 10 years is just kind of like
the way
the time.
that I mean, the way that I definitely read it was very, Hold on, I'm getting some audio feedback.
They just dissolve into nanobots.
All right, am I coming through okay?
10 years.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I definitely kind of got the feeling that it's not an exact date. It's more of a Best Buy date, if you will. Kind of like after 10 years, you're going to expire. It's going to start smelling a bit, and it's just you're going to stop some point.
It's an Xbox controller date. Like, it's going to die. Like, it doesn't matter how good you take care of it. Something's going to break.
All you're doing is prolonging the inevitable.
You get a little bit of that. Yeah, you get a little bit of that drift. You're just standing there, and suddenly your eyes just start going to the side. It's just the body's done.
Horrifying.
Your ghost is like, there's nothing more I can do for you. It's time to let.
My 10-year anniversary was
go.
yesterday, and then all of a sudden your eyes just start to turn off. Like, oh damn. Overall though, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of their designs, but I like them as characters. I liked Rohan and Nimbus. But
I do like them both. I know that Bungie was very heavily playing up the 80s cop partners with Rohan being the grizzled fat one day from
over this shit.
So it was very obvious that he was going to die. The more I sit with it, I'm a little sad they fully went through with that, though, because it does feel like it robs a little bit of Rohan's character. The fact that he was just introduced, and you know from almost the first moment you meet him, this guy ain't surviving even halfway through this campaign. He lived longer than I thought he would.
I mean, I think they could have went a little longer with Rohan and had more, because I definitely wanted him and Osiris to have more conversations.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, is it just feels like they left us with Nimbus, who's the rookie character, and so I'm assuming they want to do more with him over this next year. I really hope they don't just forget about him on Neo Luna and then he just shows up in the background of a cutscene for Final Shape.
I mean, we haven't really talked to Finch since Witch Queen, so
that's my fear, because there is a lot of potential for these characters, and this is where the seasonal model sometimes kind of clashes with what I want from Destiny.
He's gonna get the Hawthorne treatment.
On that note, yeah, do we want to talk about kind of how this season's ended in a very similar place to where it started? Or not season,
the campaign.
The campaign.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that ending.
So I mean, I'm sure you've seen the stuff going around online that is lining up the beginning cutscene and the final one, and if it was not a single cutscene split in two, I am very surprised.
Okay, what are you getting at?
Yeah, we're kind of like back to square one, but with some new stuff.
I mean, we got Strand, which very much feels like that. It very much feels like the purpose of this campaign was getting Strand, more so than any of the MacGuffins in the mail.
Well, you know what I really was asking myself when we beat the game is, I was like, how long did that take in universe?
Yeah, well, that's the stuff where people lined up the cutscenes, because are we supposed to assume that the blast doors went down on the helm and then they just stood there for 6 to 8 hours, and the witness just literally just sat there, had a cup of tea in front of the traveler?
I mean, or did all of that happen at the same time, or maybe that's part? I don't know, maybe that's one of those things where we look back on it, it's like that inconsistency is.
Yeah, where are my time?
Maybe that's a hint to something. Maybe it is like I don't know. I'm looking at it like, because it almost feels like all of them are happening at the same time or something like that. I don't really know.
I feel like
maybe
we're
it's a
probably
branch in the timeline or something. I don't know.
And if that's possible, to me, that reinforces my idea that the Vex are probably going to be a much bigger part of this year, right? Like, they've kind of been in the background for a bit. Like, they've been there, they've been doing their stuff, hopping through time, making simulations, milking each other, the stuff the Vex do. But we've been really focused on the Cabal and the Hive for a while and the Fallen. So I feel like this is probably going to be like... And Destiny likes to kind of like drip stuff through, right? Like, if you think about how long the setup for the Rasputin stuff was going, like, that's the beginning of D1, right? So for this year to feel kind of like, okay, what happens next at the very beginning? To me, that almost makes sense, because like you said earlier, they are probably going to be trying to stretch stuff through the story of the rest of the year, right? not just give some big, here's the climax at the end of this, month,
Yeah.
I feel like they got to start doing that, though. I mean, if everything we've had is building to the final shape, this is the year we need to be getting those climaxes. We need every season to be paying off some of these questions. You can leave stuff for after. Like, I don't need them to tell me what the Vex are, but we need to be getting some payoff on, like, you introduced the Witness and the Veil. I mean, the thing I've been seeing going around is we still don't even know what the Veil is, and that was supposedly the whole point of this campaign.
I mean, I think everyone has definitely touched on the fact that they did not handle that.
It's a big magical noodly hole, like that's what it is. It's just a big magic ball with some noodles coming out of it, and the Witness wants it, and that's all we need to know, man.
Stop asking so many questions and go to Eververse. I keep telling. No, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. But yeah, I don't really know. I feel. Would you guys be satisfied if they answered the question of what is the Veil throughout the year? Like, if every season ties back into that, or something to do with the Witness's plan, like. Would you be okay with the entire year of Lightfall being the Lightfall, being the defeat, or something like that? Like, what do you think? Like, how do they handle from where they are now as a story? I
mean, I'm fine with us taking L's personally. I think it's about time that we take some actual, like, serious losses. I think realistically, every season needs to be paying off some explanation of a question we have, setting up for, so that when we go into Final Shape, we're not starting Final Shape out with a mystery of, you're going to finally learn what the Witness is in the final campaign. I think we need to be going into Final Shape understanding, maybe not fully what the Traveler is, maybe not fully the Witness, but we need to know who our enemy is, understand what they're doing, and understand what we're going to do to stop them, so that entire campaign can be us basically fighting the final fight.
I mean, I respect that. I think that's a good idea.
Final fight is just an endless wave of supplicants.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
Well, I mean, it's the thing where it's like, why was Halo 3 such a good payoff? We had questions about what the arc was of Halo 3. That was the MacGuffin introduced in that game. But we weren't sitting there going, what's the Flood? We weren't sitting there saying, I wonder if the Covenant is a real religion. We knew who the Covenant was. We knew what our enemies were. We understood all the stakes going into it.
I mean, yeah, but I think this is less Halo 3
of like what the purpose is and where things are going. I think we are in kind of an awkward place now that Callus is dead, the Cabal are kind of in a disarray. We have Savathun's corpse, but, like, is she dead? Like, is that going to be a thing? Or the Hive going to kind of pull a Fallen and a Cabal on us? Like, I'm not sure what happens from here, right? Which I'm not saying is entirely a bad thing. Yeah.
I think the big thing is Xivu. It's the third sister, right? Like, we still have to deal with her. Like, that's still a big thing. That's probably more of a Final Shape thing.
Do you think... So that's actually a good question. Where we stand right now, do you think Xivu is going to be a Final Shape enemy, or do you think that she's going to be a part of the fight, but held back for the After Destiny?
I think...
Or After Light and Dark.
I think this year is, like, exploring the Witness. I think, like, it's going to be, every season's going to be either us surviving something after he does what he does inside of the Traveler, that the communing within, drinking of the light. Like, we still have the prophecy wall from Vow the Disciple, right? So he still has to drink, he still has to do that stuff. So we still have to kind of go through that part, and I think this is the year where they actually explain and explore what the Witness is, what he wants. And maybe we learn that through, if Nezarec is in the boss, maybe we learn something via Nezarec from back in the day or something. That's what I think. I think it's exploring the Witness and his motivation, what he wants. And us, and then, like, the process of whatever he's doing being stretched out over the year. And still us trying to stop it, and maybe we pull through in the midnight hour, or maybe it's just a struggle tooth and nail and we still just lose. I don't really know, but I think Xivu Arath is more of a final shape thing, especially because it being called final shape. That's more of a hive terminology, right? Like we heard that, the first time we heard that was in the Books of Sorrow, so I think it's more of a hive thing to me.
Fair enough. I've always, at least since they introduced the Gardener and the Winnower lore stuff, I took it to be more that the shape had to do with what we later came to know as the Witness, and that Oryx kind of got it from him. That was more to do with taking and darkness powers, at least in my interpretation.
Oh no, I agree. I'm just saying, like, naming it the final shape seems to be
it is still something where we only ever really hear that talked about by the Hive.
Yeah, so to me, I'm just like, thematically, I would, thematically Bungie using the final shape.
I'm always pro more Hive stuff, personally.
I mean, I want to see Xivu. I want to see Xivu Arath, the third sister that didn't really get all of the hype and excitement went to Savathûn, but it's like Xivu Arath is kind of a badass. She's kind of terrifying.
What would be kind of the difference or make her interesting as a character, distinct from Savathûn?
She doesn't play games. Like she's. Whenever they introduce her, it is going to be like, no, she's down the street. Like she's just burning everything. Like, there's no talking. There's no religious. There's no conniving. She's killing everybody. Like there's just people walking down the street with people on sticks. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh God, we can't stop her.
I mean, it also is like, if she's supposedly the aspect of war, I do really expect that to be, it's going to be well, arguably, like, the Witness should be the biggest fight we've ever fought, but I would think she would be the biggest fight in terms of, like, any battle we throw at her, any attack we throw, literally just strengthens her.
I mean, to me, she's the kind of character that just shows up in the middle of the meeting and kills everyone in the room, right? Like, they're talking about, we need to find a way to stop Xivu Arath, and then she just shows up and murders everybody. Like, oh my God.
She pulls a Deep Blue, just comes through the window and takes it.
Exactly. So I think, and there's no talking. There's no... Well, I mean, and to be fair, she's not just like a brute. She's a tactician. She's, so I'm not saying she's like the big, dumb, stupid...
I mean, if we're going actual theories, personally, I think that's where the fact that Savathûn's ghost is still out there is going to come in, is I think ultimately it's going to fall down to how do you beat, like, how do you outfight war itself?
The truth.
You obviously can't just you can't outfight it, so I feel like that's where we're going to res Savathûn, and it's basically going to be...
You need to talk to your sister, she's killing
everyone. The Hive God of Trickery stopping the Hive God of War.
Well, I mean...
because
the big thing about Witch Queen was the reveal of that they were lied to, so I think that's a big thing, right? Like, why even introduce that point if we're not going to use it? So I think that's probably a big part, is Xivu Arath realizing that all of this was because they were tricked, and that would probably make her extremely angry. So there's definitely something there.
Yeah, there could be the whole thing of we expect her to come to our doorstep, and she does, but then she's like, all right, let's go kill the fucking Witness.
Like, oh, okay, dope.
It's got thralls.
Please, I just hope Bungie makes her hot. That's all I want. I just want Xivu to be a big, muscular night woman. That's all I want.
Just Junker Queen, but Hive.
She's gonna be bony. That's the Hive's identity. They're made of bones. Well, kite.
Yeah.
Something's gonna be bony, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess one thing is, especially because we keep talking about like the things we want answered, how much do you think of like the things we're saying that we wanted from this campaign are just part of this season? Because this season is basically like, oh well, the darkness captured people and now you just need to fight the pyramid fleet on Earth and probably some other planets once we get to next week. So it's, do you think like a lot of this stuff of these questions that they just ignored in the campaign is because they did just want to have some kind of reveal for the season?
I mean, I think it's, you take the idea of this is the final battle, this is the big fight, and it's like, you don't do that in one campaign, right? So to me it makes sense to stretch it over the year. Like, this whole year is the fight. because if Destiny's trying to do this like one-to-one, day-to-day type of thing, and because they've always tried to do that, right? Like even the day Destiny came out all the way back in 2014 was like the day the Travelers showed up to humanity, right? So like they've always tried to be like one-to-one with your day-to-day kind of thing. So why not embrace that and go, this year is, we're gonna let them live through a war, like they're gonna be part of the offensive. So it's like, yeah, you do here, he's doing this while he's off doing that, you're over here. Because even the way that the campaign and the seasonal stuff, the way they kind of lined up was like your Guardian goes take care of the stuff on Neomuna, and then other Guardians are taking care of the war at home. And it's like, yeah, I think I kind of dig that. I'm kind of interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, I would be honestly pretty surprised if we don't get some of the answers we're talking about here throughout the next season, you know?
Yeah, the seasons, right? Because we have a whole year until the final shape.
Yep, we've got a lot of distance to cover.
But at the same time, we're almost at the final shape, which is crazy. I swear to God, we were just at Shadowkeep, and now we're here, and I'm like, what the hell happened?
Hey guys, we need help dealing with this Skolos guy. Prison of Elders is really hard.
Yeah, I swear to God, like it wasn't that long ago we were doing Rise of Iron, and now we're almost done. Now it's almost been, it's crazy. Exactly.
Dismantle lines.
Yes. Speaking of that, what is?
It will be cool. What I really want to see at the end of the year, honestly, is just like a real cinematic where we get to see like all of our characters get involved. Like I want to see Varix. I want to see, Kaido. I want to see Savathun. I want to see, everybody. I want to see Crow and Spider and Zavala. I want to see Ikora wreck some shit. I want to see fucking everybody, right? Like I want Toland to come out of a portal.
Yeah, where's Toland? We have not heard from Toland in a long time.
I feel like they are, and that is one thing where I actually want to like give props to this season, where I feel they're starting to do it. Assuming we go to a different planet next week, or even 2 weeks from now, because Bungie likes to trickle out the battlegrounds instead of letting you do all of them at the start. You can only get one a week,
and that doesn't bother
but like
me.
They brought in,
I think that's fine.
Well, but the thing that I wanted to point is they brought in Devram, who is
Devram. That's awesome that he's back. Yeah.
So, like, if next season we're going to, I'm just throwing it out there. What are planets we still have?
Let's say
what planets still
Nessus.
exist?
Let's say Nessus.
What planets still exist?
Nessus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Failsafe is interfacing with the pyramid tech, and Failsafe is back in the story. Someone who has not existed since year one. We could go to the Dreaming City and, especially with all like the Awoken stuff. Yeah, like bring Petra back in.
I mean, do you guys like the theming of being one of Mara's knights? I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool theme for this, like being knighted and Queen's Guard and all that.
Well, he's down.
Oh, that's one, especially if you look at like the little season art for it. I feel like that's something where that's probably like an original Destiny 1 thing of like, oh yeah, at some point people will be able to like ally with the Queen and join her faction. I bet you this is something that's been carried forward from like all the way back then.
Yeah, you guys remember when we gave a shit about like the new monarchy and fucking like
yeah, I mean,
back when there were Crucible factions and stuff in D1.
Yeah, that's
back when there were Crucible updates.
Right.
I mean, we're getting a new map at some point.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Crucible this whole time.
I did a little bit of Crucible, nothing.
I know
nothing
I'm
too
not
serious.
a huge Crucible person.
It wasn't anything. It wasn't. It's not as bad as Stasis. Like Stasis
go back and forth with
when it first came out. The Strand seems fine. I haven't really seen anything bad about Strand. If you get tangled, you can still shoot. So
Yeah,
I
will say it definitely is. It definitely. Do we want to end off? Because I know we've kind of been going for a while. Do we want to end off just kind of on thoughts about Strand itself, since we haven't delved too far into it?
I have a suggestion. If you guys want to hear me out.
Sure.
Let's talk about Strand. Okay, that's fine. I'm editing this. Let's talk about
weird
Strand.
flex, but okay.
No, not a flex. Threat. Anyway, let's talk about Strand and our thoughts, and then let's talk about what we think the raid is. The raid's in, what is it, next week? So we definitely got to talk about the raid.
I feel like we just don't, because we don't have the raid trailer yet, so it's all speculation at this point.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Content.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no. It's up to you to design the raid. I'm just saying what do you guys think. But let's talk about Strand first.
Deserac is the door mechanic. The entire raid actually revolves around Savathun coming back.
Okay.
That's my hot take.
Okay, well that's okay. Aggro, what do you think about Strand?
I mean, I think Strand's pretty cool so far. I haven't gotten everything unlocked, right? So I'm still kind of like going through the ropes with it. Strand joke. But I'm excited for the broodlings. Personally, obviously, you know, I love bugs in real life, so this is like a dream subclass for me to just send little hordes of worms running after shit. I've been a warlock main since D1, so I'm totally here for everything. The grappling seems cool. I like swinging around. I don't know how I feel about it as like, is this my preferred class now versus like playing like Void or Solar or something, right? So I don't know how it feels like meta-wise if it's going to be my main pick right now, but I do like it. I am enjoying it. I think that it feels different enough from the other classes in a good way. I'm excited to see what kind of build crafting I can do with it. I'm already trying to kind of think of some interesting things I can do with the Warlock, kind of having 3 melee charges. I was wondering if I could do something fun with like a Monte Carlo or something like that, where I'm just like refreshing my melee and throwing needles everywhere.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it gets kind of like, there's a lot of different kind of status effects essentially now, with like the, you know, threaded armor and the woven stuff, and you can like suspend people, and there's cutting strands. So I feel like there's still a lot left to kind of be discovered in terms of like what you can do with Strand, what kind of stuff you can pull off, what sort of different builds are going to be fun or viable. And I'm not like a power gamer, so I'm not like, what's going to be the strongest thing? It's more like, what am I going to have fun doing? What's going to be a fun way to build? And so far I've been having fun with it, you know? I fell hard into kind of enjoying my necrotic grips last season, and I've been enjoying that works with Strand as well, because I can kind of throw little darts that do the Strand tick and poison and then do other stuff with it. So it's cool. I like it. I think it's a good addition to the game. I feel like I'm enjoying it more than I enjoyed Arc when it came out, you know, for Warlocks. I don't know if I like it more or less than Stasis. I think Stasis was also pretty interesting, and I like that they're still, you know, putting stuff out that works alongside it, like the new bow, like you said, is cool. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see how it evolves as the year goes on, and what kind of exotics come out, and what kind of crazy stuff people figure out, because we're still pretty early.
Yeah, I think those are all good points.
No, I definitely agree with a lot of that, and I really like the Warlock identity of Strand. I haven't gotten to play with it too much, but I've done the grenade that lets you throw out the threadlings, and it's pretty fun just to see them swarm around. They kind of remind me of the Axion darts, but as someone who's a hunter main, I've only really had those recently, so I get to enjoy that now from the get-go with Strand. I do really like the melee ability for hunters, and the super feels really good. I like the stringing up enemies and the hard crowd control of that. I do really enjoy that the darkness gives that like crowd control kind of identity where none of our light subclasses can really do that. I mean, a little bit maybe with suppression on Void, but I will say my one hope, and they could do it with an aspect next season, and it's my biggest hope. Add some way for hunters to be able to use the grapple when we don't have our grenade. Even if I can't do like the melee that does a bunch of damage, I hate feeling like I can never use the grapple to reposition. I want to swing around to get up on something high, but then I can only do that like once every 30 seconds at most.
Yeah, it does feel a little strange with the Warlock too, that I have to pick between... I mean, I guess that makes sense too, but it does feel a little sad in a way to be like, oh, I can't swing around because now I'm focusing on throwing bugs. Which is like fair in a way, you know, I understand it's like one thing does one thing's the other kind of build rate. But it does feel kind of disappointing in a way when you get used to swinging around and like having fun with it, and then you have to be like, okay, well, fuck that element of the kit now. I'm throwing bugs. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's, to me, the most fun of the grapple is when they give you the anchor points that don't take away your grenade, and you're just swinging from anchor to anchor and just kind of chaining that momentum.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able
Worst feeling to me with it.
It'd be nice to be able to use those even if you don't have the grapple. I think that would be the cool thing. Is like if you can still grapple to the existing points, even if you don't have that grenade selected, but I don't know.
What were your thoughts with that, Foss?
I'm really digging Strand as a crowd control class, and I really enjoy the super for Titan. Just going absolutely fucking berserk and Wolverining shit. Like it feels like that scene in Logan where like you hear him scream like 2 miles away, and then it just cuts to him running through the forest and just like that's what it feels like. And I dig it. I think the grapple is really cool, but I also really like the bolo grenades, like throwing it and it splits and grabs other people. That's really cool. Just getting to just hack and slash with the melee. Just good. Like, and I just love the green. I love that they use green, and green looks really pretty. And at the time of this recording, I think yesterday, Bungie just let all of the fragments be purchasable, so now we just have all the fragments. So, really excited to go in there and start figuring out what I want to do, because, you know, part of me wants to focus on threadlings, but other parts of me wants to focus on just suspending stuff and having the woven mail up as long as possible, and, you know, and even if you want to focus on just grappling, like there's the fragment where doing damage gives you your grenade back, so like that's a way to get even faster grenade energy up, like, and that's another thing too with the just builds, right? Like if you want to grapple, you can just build all into your grenade energy and getting it back as soon as possible, right? So I'm really excited for it. I'm really digging it, and this thing looks really cool. And also apparently the Titan Super with Syntheseps is crazy, so looking forward to trying that out.
All 3 classes can do some insane stuff. Have you seen the video going around where apparently Star Eater Scales and 6 Hunters is enough to basically full takedown Riven with no debuffs?
Really?
It's not even close on the timer. She melts.
That's amazing.
I'm glad that you like the super for the Titans, honestly, Fasa, because I know there were some apprehensions before it launched. We were like, oh, is the super going to be good? Are the Titans going to get a good super? You know, the Warlocks and Hunters look so cool with their worms and their rope darts, so there was kind of like some apprehension about whether or not the super was going to be good or viable.
I think as a Titan main, you know, I think all the Titans kind of went, it's the Arc one, but with green. You know, I do wish, hopefully, if we get one more subclass, if we get one more Darkness subclass, I'm like, Bungie, I think you could do more with Titan than they punch shit. It's like, you know, give them a big sword, give them a roar, give them some, give Titans like the mouth laser from anime. Like, I want a laser too, right? You know, something like that. Because I think all of the Titans, just all of the Titan supers are just big punch now. Big punch fire, big punch shield, big punch ice, you know.
That's what the final the final Darkness class needs to do. It needs to give Titans a laser that they can just chuck out like Warlocks. It needs to give Hunters one of those that's just like a sustained throwable, like, well, I guess we kind of have that with Silence and Squall. It needs to give us something hammer, like the Titans have, like where hammer, it's well, like where it places something in the world for everybody to use. And then they need to give Warlocks a melee super.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the final class needs to just flip everything over. Yeah, everyone gets a little bit of something.
Give me a fucking nightmare scythe.
I'm just imagining a Warlock running around with flaming hands slapping people.
Oh my god, my phone, I'm so sorry.
What do you think, I guess this could be a quick thing, because I know we're talking about wrapping it up, but since Strand has come out, if we were going to get a third Darkness class, now that we have kind of like Ice and Threads, what do you think the third one would be? You know, if we've already got Fire or Darkness,
I think
Lightning.
it's that yellow shit from Rolk and Callus and the Witness. I think it's whatever that shit is, that yellowy I think it's kind of like a sound frequency wave type of thing. I don't know what you do with that mechanically.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I get
That's
that.
what I think. Yeah.
So I've seen the community's kind of calling it resonance, and I do think that is probably like our best guess for what they would add.
I've heard resonance and luster, because I think somewhere in the lore it's referred to as luster. So that's what I've heard.
Would it be like a
like
tank class for warlocks?
I mean, I do honestly like a very much defensive identity would be cool. We get a little bit of that with the woven mail on Strand.
Woven mail is very powerful,
but
by
it
the
would
way.
be.
Really dig that.
Oh yeah, I think you can get up to like 70% damage reduction. I think is the max you can now.
Something stupid.
I think it's funny too because we were talking the other day about like on a different conversation about like overshields and things like that and different Titan abilities, and now warlocks do have the ability on the Void subclass to get an overshield. So I'm looking forward to that especially because I like doing like glaive builds with Void to proc Devour to get my health back, and I'm like, now I can get an overshield and get my health back with Devour and smack shit with my glaive. Like, yes please.
Yeah.
That is something I hope they continue leaning into, because it is, to me, builds become fun when you break things a little.
Mm-hmm.
So it is always one of those balancing acts of, I know Bungie doesn't want us to completely break the game, but the whole fun part of builds is getting a little crazy. Like, please let us do something.
I think Bungie's hit a good medium ground of like, you can get crazy, but you can get crazy in one thing. Like you can build all into grenade, all into damage, all into resilience. Like they're kind of letting you like, okay, we're gonna let you do it, but you can't have 50 billion buffs and like you just focus on one thing, which is why I kind of dig in that's why I like about the new mod system. Is it feels streamlined and it feels very like, okay, I just want all of my solar weapons to have more ammo. There you go. I'm like that. There you go. Perfect. I just want all of my so that feels nice.
Yeah. Any more reason?
Yeah, it's one where I haven't gotten to experiment with the mods too much yet myself, but I like the changes I've seen.
I'm dabbling, but there's just some stuff I'm noticing. I'm like, oh, that's just nice. That's just nice to have.
I definitely agree. I think the simplification of some of the things was definitely a good move, with like the armor charges in place of like the charged with light or the well. Yeah, a lot of the time it felt like, well, what is accurate? What stacks with each other? What is good over something else? And now it's just a lot more straightforward, but I still think customizable enough that it doesn't feel like you're just picking the same thing on every build.
Yeah, I feel more like trying more things out now because it's like, okay, I have armor charges, and do I want to focus on resilience? Do I want to focus on healing, or do I just want to bump my damage, or do I want to focus on ability spam? Like it feels more simplified but more accessible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the combo strategies, right? Where I run like my Void Glaive Devour build with overshields, and then Fasa does something that gives me like the woven armor, and then the Hunter's doing something else that like suppresses or suspends things, so I'm just running in there and smacking shit and poisoning things, and just like the combos with stuff I think is going to be really fun.
And I mean, yeah, I think just kind of wrapping it up, we're almost at an hour. We can do this last little part really quick. Just raid thoughts. Raid is next week. I think it's, what is it called? Realm of Nightmares or something like that. Something crazy.
I didn't even know that it had its name out.
Yeah, there's a name. There's a name and a name and a art.
I guess that lends some credence to the idea that it could be Savathun returning, like Coyote said. But I would be surprised.
No,
yeah.
I was making that up. That was pure outlier.
I think it's Vex related, and I think it's Nezarec. I think it's going to be something with the Vex and something with like a phone. I think it's something to do with Nezarec. I think it's something to do with the past or time and the Vex. That's what I think it is. Yeah.
I think we're definitely going to see
with nightmares in the name, 100%.
And I definitely think we're going to see more of those annoying tanky-ass enemies that we got introduced to this season. I don't even remember what.
Can we talk about the Tormentors?
The Tormentors are fucking terrifying.
They're kind of cool though.
They are cool, but they run your ass down, and I'm like, oh my god, like stay away from me.
I'll put the clip up.
I'll admit, I did not experience the Tormentor hell that apparently other people have. So I don't know if I got lucky or apparently I'm just good gamer. But,
I'll put.
There's some stuff I've been reading where they can be a little bullshit. Apparently,
I just got doing the quest to do that new exotic sidearm. And you have to fight one, and I fought one by myself. That was very different than the campaign. Right now, I will throw the clip up of the first time we got to a Tormentor in the campaign.
What was that?
So that happened to script. I have stopped the that thing they do when they pull you in and they just like kill you immediately. I've stopped that twice by accident because I would put a barricade up to protect me. They would grab me, but they would touch the barricade and they would flinch and let me go. So I think they're really fun. Also, you can suspend them, which I didn't realize, so that's really fun. I think they're really cool.
The flinch clutch definitely helps. Yeah, I want to too.
Yeah, it's one where, and it could just be people don't yet know how to interact with them. From what I was reading, if you did the campaign solo, if they grab you, a lot of people were saying that unless you have like insane like overshields or max resilience, that's basically just a one-hit kill, which does seem a little, well, oppressive.
I feel like,
at least to me.
Yeah, I survived it. It definitely got me once that way, and then I've survived it another time, like due to the flinching, and then I survived it another time just due to being in a pool or having like enough resilience or health at that time, or maybe like a poison proc healed me with Devour during it or something like that. So I feel like they're manageable. I like them too. I'm not saying any of this disparagingly of them being tough. Like, they got on my nerves in the fight, but in a good way of being like, oh, these guys are actually a threat. I was gonna say, for like the first time in a long time, I felt like they were actually like a mini boss in Destiny, right? Like, they didn't feel just like an enemy with a bunch of hit points. They felt like, this is a unique thing. I need to approach this in a certain way, right? Like, I've got to take out his shoulders, then I got to shoot him in the chest, and he has like phases, like, I liked that a lot. Like, even if they were threatening and challenging to deal with, I liked that they actually forced me to play differently, right? Which I think is a good thing.
And they were infinitely better than champions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by miles.
I will say this, though. The way the champion stuff works now, so much more fun. Like, using Strand to stop unstoppables, and using stasis, using radiant, using your guns. Now I'm like, no, bring on the champions. I want to figure out a cool way to deal with them. Like, I kind of like
That's
that.
Fair.
It's really fun now. Really
now
like
that there's more ways to deal with them, they don't feel as much of just a lock that you just have to
because I did the story mission with Moose and Heartless, and I was like, I want to have unstoppable, and then I looked at, and it tells you, which is really not good job, Bungie, for actually putting information there. Strand does it, so I was just running around throwing bolo grenades.
I feel
just stopping
the same
them.
way. Where
and I was like, oh, that feels so cool.
I think the bad thing about champions before was that it did feel like you had to use certain weapons, you had to use a certain build to deal with them. It felt very kind of like restrictive. And then now, because there's more options, it's like, okay, yeah, they're challenging. Okay, yeah, it's a way to make existing content feel a little different or a little harder, but it's not as oppressive as what I can actually run, to deal with them.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, a blind grenade will stop her, using blinding grenades. It's like, okay, I can use that. I can switch to a blinding grenade.
I think that puts us right at almost an hour. Was there any other beats that you wanted to hit on, Foss and or aggro?
I just said my predictions.
Warlocks are the best class. Exos are the best playable type of character you can be until they let me play a Fallen. And aggro out.
All right.
Your opinion doesn't matter. You're only a level 6 on the Guardian.
It's true. I don't even have any titles.
So is everybody.
I'm almost a 7, so fuck you. I'm almost there.
Wait, let me check you on your bullshit. Am I 7 yet? Let me look at this. Oh no, I'm still sick. Okay, I was about to be like, I was
like, that's impressive. I have not seen anyone who is not a level 6 in the wild. I haven't even seen anyone who's like lower than that. I think there's one of the ranks is just equip a shader.
There you go. Kyle, do you have any final words? Final thoughts?
No, I mean, I know I kind of pulled up a lot of things where I feel like the campaign could have been better, but it's one where I don't want to present that I think the campaign was bad. I do think, once again, this is some of the coolest stuff that Bungie has put in the game, and a lot of the gameplay feels really good, better than it has in a couple of seasons. I would think my qualms with the story is just stuff where I want to see more of this world, and my only complaint is I hate how much they hold the world back to save it for later.
Fair.
I get that. Okay, well, I think that's everything. This has kind of been all over the place kind of discussion, but I had a lot of fun. It was really fun talking to you guys. We've all been playing Destiny a very long time, this was a big expansion. It's a big year. It's a new year, and I'm excited. I'm going to take this time to say that Aggro, Coyote, and I are going to start making videos together for Destiny content, kind of starting with the basics, talking about stuff and helping either if you're a new Guardian or if you're an older Guardian and you just want a refresher. And, the new mod system, there's always stuff to learn. There's always something to do, and there's something always to learn, and there's always something to experiment with. So we want to start making videos that kind of delve into that a little bit, and lore stuff. We're going to start making more Destiny content, so be prepared for that. Let us know what you would want out of the Destiny content, because I feel everyone likes Destiny for a different reason. So tell us down in the comments below what you want, and we'll see if we can do something like that for you guys.
Tell us why we're wrong and why you hate us. Fill those comments.
Tell us how life said otherwise, and I'll tell you to eat a bag of dicks. I'm Fasa the Silver Chimera. Thank you for checking out our video. Remember, I'm also joined here by
Aggro621, the nefarious warlock.
Wayward Coyote, just a person who plays Destiny too much.
I came up with
All
it
right.
on the spot. It's fine.
I like the nefarious warlock, and then that guy who plays too much Destiny. I thought you were going to say something with your hunter, but Coyote's the resident hunter of the team, so we got a full fire team here.
I'm trying not to complain as much as hunters do.
We'll cross that road, I'm sure.
We'll cover it in a minute.
At least you have a double jump.
And tell us down below. Tell us down below if you want us to do more kind of podcasty type of episodes like this. This was kind of fun. So, yeah, I'm out, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you when we see you.